Kadosh, everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Be'ezrat Hashem, thank you for joining our kollel every Tuesday and Thursday in the Paras from 8 to 9, 98-39, 67th Avenue, Rego Park, New York, 11375, 11374. So we also want to say Yaakov ben Asher, thank you very much for dedicating the shur and supporting the shur. One day, Megilat Hashem, you're going to also join us. וגם ברכה הצלחה לקיריו דניאל בן מיכאל, חתונה בשנה הזה. וגם אליהו בן בכור בריס, שהתחתן בעזרת השם. וגם ניסין בן בכור, שהיא בעזרת השם תצליח בכל דרכיו. ותצא כל הדין המשפט, משהו יש לו, so whatever the דין המשפט he has, so Hashem let help him to come out from there. וגם מברך כל המסובים פה, whoever is join the שיעורים, בעזרת השם יתברך, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. 1000 הבדלות בין המתים לחיים, לעילוי נשמת כל הנפטרים ונפטרות, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. So I started something new, and I would like to share with you guys. ויהי בימי אחשוורוש הוא אחשוורוש מלך מהודו עד כוש. So it says Chazal, we're learning right now Megilat, which is talks about in a time of the Achashverosh, and Achashverosh was then it says in a time ויהי, where it says ויהי מלך פרס היה מלך תחת כורש לסוף 70 שנה של הגלות בבל. So Achashverosh was, the Rashi says, in the end of the 70 years of the Bavel, and he was in a 70th year. So when is the Megilat Ester happen? Megilat Ester happened between first Bet HaMikdash and second, which just means the first Bet HaMikdash nichrav, he got destroyed. Then that's when we went to the Babylon. From Babylon, of course, it was in Persia. And like this, 70, at the end of the 70 years, it happened of the Megilat Ester. So Megilat Ester, so what they want to do, the Achashverosh and Haman wants to destroy the Jewish nation. What's the reason? So because Haman comes from the Amalek. Amalek, like we learned from previous parashiyot, Amalek soneh Am Yisrael. He hates Am Yisrael. So that's why in the parasha it says in the end, Al Kesiyah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu would not, Chas v'Shalom, be complete unless we imchok et Amalek mitzvah say, we have a positive mitzvah, imchok et Amalek, to erase Amalek. So Amalek will come in a different forms. Amalek usually comes spiritual and physical. So also when we came out from Egypt, this Amalek comes out. We did through your Kriyam Yom Suf. Arba meod parsa. That means it takes him 7 days to come to Jewish nation. Nilcham im Amalek. Nilcham im Am Yisrael. He wants to fight with Am Yisrael. So same thing. Every generation, we have our positive and negative, which is, a negative is the Amalek. He wants to show us, when it comes to the mitzvah, he wants to always make us, it says, when you're on your way, he wants to make you cold. Cold, which just means you had something in the spirituality, you want to do mitzvah, Amalek telling you don't do it. So what's the Amalek in our generation? Amalek is something has to do with wasting time. Perfectly wasting time, so the best way to waste time is sit on a phone. How many hours we sit on a phone, and how many hours we sit on shiur. When we sit on a shiur, sometimes we fall asleep, sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're sad. When we sit on a phone, we don't fall asleep. It's all the time something excitement. But the time passed by. Time passed by, another hour, and he's not realizing it. So now comes the time to come for the prayer, or come for the shiur. Then he's tired. Why is he tired? Because last night he was too busy being on his Amalek, which just means that disturbs him, and he cannot concentrate. So Amalek all the time telling him, not today, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. So a person has to know in the time of the Achashverosh, so what they did, he did 180 days, he did a party. 180 years and 7 days. 7 days he said he did for Jews. 187 days he did a party. So what we learn from here? So a person is all the time want to do party. Why he does a party? Because what do you do in a party? You drink, you make late sanud, which is makes you make fun others, and you waste your time. And that's what the party is about. What's the party about? Talmidei Chachamim did a party, like it says in Masechet Shabbat on page 118, because they finished some type of Masechet. So you finish Masechet, you do a party. You finish Mishnah, you do a party. But party like this, Chazal says, it's a wasting time. So we tend to love to waste time. We want something excitement. No problem. You want something excitement, you have to go for excitement. So we're going to learn something nice over here. I picked one of the Pirushim. I picked the Pirush of Vilna Gaon. So Vilna Gaon, there's many Pirushim over here. So it says over here, Al Pi Pshat, simple meaning. Vayhi hu Achashverosh. It says, he's Achashverosh. מפני שאחשוורוש אחר הוא אבי דריווש, המדי הראשון. He says he was the Achashverosh. Different one. הוא היה אביו, the father of דריווש. המדי הראשון, כמו שנאמר, בשנה אחד לדריווש בן אחשוורוש מזרע מדי. So he comes from the zera of the Madai. Why is it important for us? Where does it come from? וגם מלך. He says he's also a king. כי לעולם היו מלכי מדי, אך מה שחושבים, שני מלכי מדי. So Vilna Gaon says he was the two kings in a Madai. Paras u'Madai. So it was a two kings. He was in a Madai. Midyanim. I don't know how to say Madai in English. With Paras, which just means Persia. Shemalko kol ha'olam. So Achashverosh was the king of the world. There's a couple people king of the world. Was Shlomo HaMelech. Right, like it says in Masechet Megilat, Masechet Megilat in page 14, if I'm not mistaken, says there was the three kings who ruled the world. One of them was Shlomo HaMelech, the second one was Achashverosh, the third one is Nebuchadnezzar. And also, some say, also Alexander the Greater, which just means Alexander the Macedon. How many cities and how many countries after rulership of these people? 250 countries bringing them money, taxes, which just means the whole world is serving them. שמלכו כל העולם ואותון לא היו אלא שניים, אבל אחשוורוש אב דריווש לא מלך אלא פרס ומדי לבד. דריווש התחיל המלוכה על כל העולם. לכן כתב הוא אחשוורוש המולך מהודו וכוש. מהודו עד כוש. אחשוורוש ראשון לא מלך אלא על פרס ומדי לבד. He says there's a two was Achashverosh. One Achashverosh was only in Persia and Madai was king. The second Achashverosh was the Mehodu at Kush. Mehodu, which just means from India until the Africa. And that's what it says. So we're going to go al pi pshat and al pi remes. Remes, which just means a hint. Vayhi b'yemei Achashverosh, amru b'Megilat, b'Gemara daf Yud. In the Gemara it says in a daf Yud, Midrash Bereshit, Rabbah. Kol hamakom ne'emar vayhi eno lashon tzara. It says where it says any was, vayhi, the Chazal says is lashon tzara. What means lashon tzara? It's pain and suffering for the whole nation and also for Jewish nation. Mishle Omer, כמו שנאמר משלי, תחת שלוש רגזה הארץ, תחת עבד כי ימלוך. He says under three kings the world was suffering. Oy li limitzari, and it says oy to me, that caused a pain to me. Vayhi, why, which is means oy, which means pain, and he, which means for him. כמו שנאמרו בעירובין, קינים זה פורענות של צדיקים בעולם הזה, ויהי זה פורענות של רשעים לעתיד לבוא. He says, ויהי, it says, for tzadikim is puranut, which means unfortunate in this world. ויהי, he says, oy, and he was, puranut for a rashaim, which means unfortunate for the person that is wicked. רשעים לעתיד לבוא, אחשוורוש אחיו של הראש. Achashverosh, which means he was the head of, he's the brother of his head. That's what it says in Megilat, Yud Aleph. Pirush, shel Nachash HaKadmoni nikra Rosh. He says Achashverosh come from the Nachash HaKadmoni. Who was Nachash the Kadmoni? The snake that the Torah Chava Emenu. Take, eat mi etz hadat tov vara, lo tuchal mimenu. You eat. You're going to be, everything is great, nobody going to die. And he says, Achashverosh is the Gilgul of the Nachash. Nikra Rosh shenemar, hayu tzarecha lelosh. And you have to know one thing. Rabotai, whoever is causing Jewish pain and suffering, vayu tzarecha lerosh. Whoever caused Jewish pain, suffering and pain, he's always going to be on top. Remember, we ask, how come he does like this to us? How come he does to Jews like that? How come umatzliach? How come he's so successful? We never said this? We're all the time saying, Hayu tzarecha lerosh. Whoever is going to make pain and suffering to Jewish people is always going to be on top. Ki b'chol b'riya sheba'olam klipa kadma lipri. He says, everything in this world, he says, klipa, which means the out shell of the fruit, is always come first, then comes the fruit. Why? Like we know, like the Esav with Yaakov. Who came out first? Esav. Who came out after him? Yaakov. Av Yaakov, Av Yaakov, Kadami Yilitzira. Even though Yaakov Avenu, he was first born inside the mother's stomach. But outside, the Esav came first, then Yaakov Avenu. Mikol HaMakom, Kadam Esav Tchila Letzed. Anyways, Esav came out first. Ki Esav Natal HaOlam Hazeh veYaakov Al HaOlam Haba. He says Esav took this world, and Yaakov Avenu took Olam Haba. So far clear? Who says this? Tana Divi Eliyahu, Eliyahu Zuta, Eliyahu Hanavi. וקדם יצירה כי תחילת המחשבה היא סוף מעשה בעניין תכלית. So it says, everything, like we read it, לכדו די לקראת קלה, right? So we said, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. So it says, anything that comes to our deed, it comes from our mind. So what does it mean? בעניין התכלית, the whole bottom line is to do מעשה, a deed. ותכלית העולם הזה, העולם הבא. He says the bottom line of עולם הזה, to know what's happening in העולם הבא. וידו אוחזת ביעקב עשיו. And he says that Yaakov takes the Esav heel and he holds on it. אף בעולם הזה ליוטב יעקב סופו. He says, why? He says, Remes, Yaakov Avinu, at the end, will take the world and this world also, at the end. והוא לימוד המשיח. It's going to be in a time of Mashiach. לכן נקרא בעקבות משיחה. That's why it's called עקבך דמשיחה. In Masechet Sotah, in page 49, it says, the heel of Mashiach. Chazal says, what means the heel of Mashiach? Yaakov Avinu, what he took? He took Olam Haba. Esav, what did he take? Olam Hazeh. This world he take. But in the time of the Mashiach, it says, Ikva de Mashiach, Yaakov Avinu would take also this world. So what we're going to have? We're going to party? We're going to have a party all day. If the Esav love the party, so we're going to have a party all day too. Hashem Yirachem Aleinu. ואף אומות העולם לא יבטלו, כמו שנאמר פסחין. Don't think that in the time of the Mashiach, the Goyim is not going to exist. Masechet Pesachim in page 68 it says, Goyim also going to be. The Goyim is going to be. It's not the one we thinking the Goyim is not going to be when Mashiach. When Mashiach going to come, what do you think? We're going to, that's it, finish. We're going to have so much enjoyment and everything is great. It's going to be much better life, that's for sure. But it's not going to be what we're thinking, that's it, we're going to finish, we could sleep till 12 o'clock in the afternoon, Mashiach will do the job, and we're going to do what we need to do. כמו שנאמר כאן לימוד המשיח, עיין תיקוני הזוהר, רק תמונים היו ביד יעקב, רואים שהיו ישראל לא היו להם כלום בעולם הזה, רק שקדם לקח ממנו הבכורה. לכן בימות מיתת אברהם ממנו עליו השלום, בשל יעקב עדשים. He says that's why we have to know the most incar, we have to work for Olam Haba. The whole point that we gave a shiur on Tuesday, the whole point to work to the whole job over here to what we're getting in the Olam Haba. So what's the first thing Yaakov Avinu did to the Esav? Bishel Adashim, lentil soup. How much lentil soups cost in America? $2, $3. I can't believe this. You know who is Yaakov? Esav? Yaakov and Esav. Esav tzait b'piv. Any animal and anything he could catch in any time, in any given moment. You know who was Esav Yaakov? The guy is forgetting it. They were the grandkids of Avraham Avinu. You know who was Avraham Avinu? Avraham Avinu had 18,000 slaves alone. You know what means slaves? You need to feed them. You need to give them jobs. How can you feed 18,000 slaves? I'm asking you a question. You have 18,000 employees. How are you going to treat them? And they were the grandkids of the richest people in the world. And all of a sudden, Esav comes in and he wants to ask lentil soup from Yaakov Avinu. How much does it cost? $2, $3? He could have catch anything and everything in this world, Esav, because he had a begadim, because he had a clothing from the Nimrod. How did he take it from Nimrod? Chazal explained to us. How did he take it from Nimrod, Abraham? No. How? How?
Shot with an arrow.
No, brothers. You know how he killed him? He says, first of all, you know how they got in an argument. They got in an argument. Nimrod said, "You in my field, you cannot be catching over here, you can't hunt." He says, "Who told you this is your field? This is my field." And they got to the argument. He came to Yaakov Avinu and he's asking, "I have a problem with Nimrod." Yaakov Avinu tells him, "You want to take care of the problem? Tell him to take out his clothing. That's the only way you're going to conquer him. As long as he has his clothing, you cannot conquer him. The only way you're going to conquer, chidush. That's the only way you're going to conquer him." The question is in a Yaakov Avinu. How can a Yaakov Avinu give advice to the Esav? To go to war with the, before we have a halacha, lifnei viver lo niten michshol. It says, in front of the blind person, you should not put stumbling block. Not blind the way we understand in the Torah. A person, something he does not know, you cannot put stumbling block. Or maybe because he was the din rodef, which is means the Nimrod was running after the Esav. And it says in the Torah, somebody is running after you to kill you, you're the first one able to kill him. So maybe we could answer that for the Yaakov Avinu. You get what I'm saying, right? So it says over here, Yaakov Avinu alav hashalom bishel Yaakov bishel adashim. Lim'os ha'olam hazeh. Esav, he was disgusted by this world. Disgusted. Chazal says, he was very chacham. Very, very chacham. כי הוא גלגל חוזר בעולם הזה שנותן עדשים לעשיו. He says, why lentil soup? Chazal says, why we eat eggs, lo alechem. The reason people ate eggs and avilut, because they know the olam galgal is gonna turn around to the person and is gonna come to him. Why also lentil soup? Because it's something able to prepare fast and quick. לכן אמר, הנה אנוכי הולך למות. Esav says, this is the time for me to go to die. הוא הרג את הרשעים, הוא ביקש להרוג. Esav, like it says in Masechet Megilat, page 11, he killed the Rashayim. At the end, he says he wants to be killed himself. את הצדיקים הוא חרב, also the tzadikim. How's it? את שני המקדשים היו ביקש להחריף. He says, Esav asked, two Bet HaMikdash to be destroyed. גם את השלישי, he says, the third one is also wanted to destroy. אבל גמולו ישוב לו בראשו כמו שנאמר. ואת הצפוני הרחיק שנאמר, ומלכות אחשוורוש, כתוב שטנה, שכל מגמתו אינו רק על ישראל. He says the whole problem had Esav with the Achashverosh, and Achashverosh had a problem with the Am Israel. הוא אחשוורוש יודע כל בראשו מתחילתו ועד סופו. Why they called him Achashverosh? He knew from beginning and he knew the end. You knew beginning and end. לכן נקרא מלך זקן וכסיל. That's why the Yetzer Hara called מלך זקן, king that is old and stupid. כמו שנאמר במדרש נעלם זוהר על הפסוק, והיה לוט מצוהר. Lot, what happened? Lot got separated from the אברהם אבינו עליו השלום. המוליך שמלך מעצמו. המוליך מהודו וכוש. Achashverosh was a king from the India until Africa. He was melech me'atzmo. Nobody made him a king. He made himself king. That's what it says in Megilat, in page 11. Yada Yetzer Hara en tzarich hachana liknoto. He says Yetzer Hara knows you don't need to buy. The Yetzer Hara comes by himself to the person. He'efech hakdusha she'enmar zohar hatruma. The opposite of the kedusha. Kedusha, we need to work for the Kedusha. Kedusha, we have to work. That's what it says in Zohar, Parashat Truma, in page 128. Amar le'shevach, el tzadikim hi tova gdola lahem. For tzadikim is the biggest thing that happened. What is it? Al yedei zochin lo tov haganus. Tzadikim is always, HaKadosh Baruch Hu give him good, and is hidden that good for the person. ואמרו גנאי אל הרשעים כמו כתוב בזוהר, זכאי מן דפרה דהרה באמרלה. לשבח דלא הווה, פירוש כל המעשיו בראשית נאמר כי טוב. הקדוש ברוך הוא said, everything in this world he created for טוב, which means for good. ביום השישי נאמר טוב מאוד. In Yom HaShishi, Hashem says in the sixth day, very good. That's what it says in Bereshit, Aleph, Lamed Aleph. V'amru kohelet, tov ze yetzer hatov. In the Bereshit it says, Shabbat tov me'od. Shabbat is very good. Who is tov? Kohelet Rabbi says, tov ze yetzer hatov. Me'od ze yetzer hara. Oh. He says, good, this is a good angel. Me'od, this is a bad angel. Does it make sense? It says by Yom HaShishi, in the sixth day, Yetzer Hara, Yetzer HaTov. In the Yom HaShishi, Hashem says, Tov Me'od. What means Tov Me'od? Very good. Tov Me'od. טוב זה יצר הטוב. מאוד זה יצר הרע. Very, it's a יצר הרע. לגנאי, דלא הווה זה חזה מלכותה, כי כל הטענות יצר הרע מגונות וגלויות דופי. Everything יצר הרע does is all the time send Jewish people to the exile. ולא היה ראוי לשמוע לו אפילו הרשע ברשעים. We have to be careful with the יצר הרע. Because יצר הרע is so strong, we don't even know who we're dealing with. רק שמראה לו הצלחת הרשעים בעולם הזה ואושרם. יצר הרע only shows how the רשעים, wicked people, they're so rich and they're so progress in everything that they do. ועוני הצדיקים. But tzadikim in this world is suffering. עוני. What means עוני? They're poor. לכן מתקיים היצר הרע אצלם, וזה אמרו, דלא חזה הזה דמלכותה ממונה יתירה הוא, דיהיב מהודו. That's why Hashem gave him so much money, anything that they do in this world. Buddha John, you first on the phone, then in the calendar. Come closer. Let me take your yetzer hara from you. Let me make a little bit. Ze khalifatcha, ze tmuratcha. That's what the yetzer hara does. Mihodu, katuv הרמה במחיר היין, מלידת אדם אז הרד לפניו, שהכל אוהבים אותו. He says when a person is born, everybody loves him. Right? Everybody says, what a cute baby. He's so cute. Everybody is pinching his cheeks. Give him candy, rotten poison candy they're giving him. Right? They're giving him. If you would have known today what they put in a candy, this whole world, they want to poison you with the bugs. Inside all this colorful food, it's everything bugs. Bugs. Everything is bugs. You're gonna look at it, you're never gonna touch it. You don't even believe it. You don't even believe it. There's a bug look like a blueberry and raspberry. So it says following like this, שהכל אוהבים אותו. When a person is little baby, everybody loves him. כמו שכתוב במדרש, גם את העולם נתן בליבם. It says, הקדוש ברוך הוא gave this world to the people in their hearts. אדם שיש לו 10 בנים, קטן מלא ררירים, הוא אוהב אותו יותר מכולם. If a person has 10 kids, he loves one of the smallest kids out of all of them. ועד כוש, זה שחרות המוות. He says, Kush, what is it? Kush, which just means dark, black. What's dark? Mavet. Mavet זה שנאמר. חד אמר הודו כוש, סוף העולם ועד סוף. כמו שנאמר, 5 ברכי נפשי כנגד 5 עולמות. So he says, why we say in ברכי נפשי, you have 5 times you say ברכי נפשי. Blesses my soul, 5 times over there. In a Baruchi Nafshi, we have 5 times Baruchi Nafshi, 5 times. Why? כנגד 5 עולמות, you have 5 worlds. תחילה לידתו הוא סוף העולם נקרא עולם הקטן. In the beginning, when he's born, it's considered as a small world. עד סופו, חד אומר בהדדי הדה, שבין הלילה עבד. וימיו כצל עובר. He says, a person wastes time, and we said in the Tehillim, this world, mihodu ad kush, it's like a darkness for the person. Ketzel over, which just means it's like a shadow that passed by. And al-ghalayla, it's like a day, it's like a night. כשם שהמלך, פירוש שהמלך על האדם כך מולך על כל העולם כולו בחטאי האדם כידוע. He says the world, a person considers a small world. And Yetzer Hara is like a king that makes a person to be a sin. וידוע תורה היא הכנה יצר הרע. We know the Torah able to, Aaron, come close to me please. How we know? הכנעה יצר הרע. How are we able to control and to be power of our יצר הרע? כמו שנאמר קידושין, מסכת קידושין, בראתי יצר הרע, בראתי לא תבלין תורה. I created יצר הרע. I created how to control the יצר הרע. Only through the Torah, proper learning of the Torah. I able to control the Yetzer Hara. If it wasn't for the proper Torah, I'm not able to control the Yetzer Hara. לכן מלך בתחילה על 7 שנים, אין מעכב בידו. מה היצר הטוב עדיין אין לו. When is the יצר הטוב comes to the person? What age? 13 years old and 1 day. Yes? We all agree? How do you know the Yetzer Hara comes to the person when he's 13, not when it was 10 or 11? You're contradicting yourself, you know why? Because a lot of kids, when it happens to bar mitzvah, they go out of the path somehow. What? Why is that? When the Yetzer Hara comes?
Until they understand what the Yetzer Hara does.
Yetzer Hara comes to the person, it says in a Bereshit, mitpetach hatad rovetz. Yetzer Hara comes in right away. How old Yetzer Hara against Yetzer Tov? No, how old is he? Is he younger than Yetzer Tov or older than Yetzer Tov?
Older.
When is the Yetzer Tov comes to the person?
13.
In a bar mitzvah, right? So how come after the bar mitzvah, some kids, and a lot of them, they go out of the path of the, if Yetzer Tov comes to him? How? How can he become stronger?
He has more years of experience.
Who has?
The Yetzer Hara.
Right. So if he has more years of the experience, so what are you supposed to do if somebody does not have more years of experience?
He's much smarter.
So if a person is older, you think he's smarter?
Yes. Because he knows his weakness.
The Gemara says, unfortunately to tell you over here, if a person is getting old and he's not learning Torah, he's getting more stupider. But Mullah Israel does not agree with that Gemara. He says, no, ma piton. My father was Chacham mikol Adam al pnei Adama. When Chazal says, how many words you're able to speak to the older person when he's old? What are you going to tell him? Okay, he's going to tell you what's the life he went through, what kind of kids he had. What's next? Nothing. Huh? He was in army. Seder. Well, then, what's next? Training camp.
Oh, but that's also regular, like, 30-year-olds.
Right. So the Chazal says the more Talmidei Chachamim learning, the more they're getting older, the more they're getting knowledgeable. But the person is, the more he's getting older, if he's not learning Torah, he's not getting knowledge. He's getting, but he's not knowledgeable. Always saying he's a radio that repeats what others say. So what he does, unfortunately, he sits in front of TV or radio, whatever somebody else repeats, he repeats it. And that's the way he shows how Chacham he is. So it says, גם יצר הטוב עדיין אין לו, ואחר כך מלך על 20, כי אמר לא עדיין אינך בן בר עונשין. It says in Masechet Shabbat in page 89, a person is not considered that is be punishable until age 20. וכך בונה העולם עליו מצודים גדולים. So it says, Yetzer Hara builds on a person a lot of net. You know that you catch the fish. What do you catch the fish with?
Net.
And he says that's what he does. He builds the big net for the person to fall down, for trap. So we just said it. Barati Yetzer Hara, barati lo Torah. You have to constantly learn Torah and constantly know our weak sided. So by we learning Torah, let's say we learn 630 mitzvot. But we never learn how to fix our midot. Midot, which means characters and traits. We're not learning. It's considered we're not learning. We're doing mitzvot. I'm sorry. We pretend like we're doing mitzvot. In the Shulchan Aruch, we need to open the first maybe 100 sifim of Shulchan Aruch, what it says over there. We just We just have to do Shulchan Aruch, what it says. If we're going to do what the Shulchan Aruch says, we consider Malach Hashem in today's date. Malach Hashem, which is we consider angels of Hashem. But unfortunately, people, like, you tell them, did you come for the shiur? He says, no, I have a shiur with my chavruta. He's learning Gemara. Okay, did you learn Gemara? Yes. Which Masechet did you learn? I learned Masechet Barachot. Good. Kol hakavod lecha. Okay, did you use it? What it says over there? I don't remember. Listen, there was a guy praying. Look, simple halacha. There's a guy praying. The guy is praying, and you pass by him. Or when you pray behind you, you're not supposed to be stepping the 4 amot and the 4 steps to him. So he does this. So you're not learning. I already talked about this. Well, let's go forward. He's just a Talmidis. Talmidis, which means he knows the Talmud, so-called. But he never applied what it says in that Talmud. Over here, everything that we're learning practical. It's 2 different things. A lot of people learning not practical. They cannot practice. They don't know how to practice. Put it into practice. Number 1, practical. That's what we started with. Vahi b'yemei Achashverosh melech mihodu at Kush. Hodu is considered Yetzer Hara. Kush, which means Mavet. So, ואחר כך מלך על 20 ואמר, כי לא עדיין אינך בעונשין, בין בוני העולם מצודים גדולים, במידותיו פחותים בתאוותיו. He says, a person does not work on his midot, and his characters and traits, and he works on his ta'avot. When he becomes 20, wow, how I'm able to grab this whole world in my hand. I'm going to do something better than my father, my grandfather, my grandmother, grand. I'm going to do something great. That's what the Yetzer Hara does. Until he's going to fall to his net. How many of us came to this world when we're young kids? We say we know better than you, father and a mother. How can you know better than me and you, where you come from me? If I'm the root of who you are today. Well, it says, no, I know better. And that's what the previous generation said. I know better. So, we continue. Av shibo lashuv achar 20 eno meniach melicho al kol 100 shanim. He says Yetzer Hara does not leave a person until 100 years. Remez b'milat medina al hashana, כמו שיש כמה מדרגות על ממשלה במדינה. He says, why it says shana? Shana, which means year. How many years, how many countries did Ahashverosh had? The whole world, but he lost it. 127. How many years people living? He says the max will live 127. ואחר כך כמה מינות חתומות שונות יצר הרע בכל ימות שנה, כמו שיבאר לכמה דיבור מתחיל לכל שריו. עיין בזוהר, שימשים בשים מקטרגים כמו שאמרו. שיסה, which means 365 days a year, a person, his all the time Yetzer Hara is running after the person. יצרו של אדום מתגבר עליו בכל יום. He says his Yetzer Hara is all the time, every day, he wants to become stronger and stronger. That's what it says in Masechet Sukkah, in page 52. So that means, יצרו של האדם מתגבר עליו בכל יום. ביורנו לרבא בר חנה, שאומר בין גלה לגלה 300 פרסה. על זה אומרו שלמה המלך עליו השלום, שמח בחור בילדותך, בטענות יצר הרע, כי אינך בר עונשין, ודע כל כך, אלא יביאך אלוקים במשפט. He says, don't forget, Yetzer Hara, it brings a person to the Bet HaMishpat, to the heavenly judgment for the person. בשביל זה אינו מניח לו לשוב אחר כך. That's why he does not leave him alone. Yetzer Hara does not leave a person alone. אלא מעתה ושני חיי עמרם 37 שנה. How many years did Amram talks about when Moshe Rabbeinu, his mother, gave him a birth? Amram was 130 years old. מהי דרשת בשעני חכי כדי כתיב מהודו עד כוש שהן כל מימי אדם 27 שנה למה לי שמאמינה לדרשה. He says, why are we talking about Achashverosh 127 years? He says, take a look at the drasha of a person's life. A person's life is 127 years. Shemelech kishevet amelech. What means kishevet amelech? And Achashverosh was sitting. Why we need to know he was standing or he was sitting? When Chazal says he was sitting or standing, it makes a difference. לאחר שהתיישבה דעתו. It says, when Achashverosh was sitting, he was calm. It's very important for life to be calm. מסכת מגילה, אין התינוק יכול לדבר עד שיתום טעם חיטה. A child not able to speak and talk until you're going to give him a grain. Somebody gave him a grain, he's able to speak. If somebody did not give him a grain, he cannot able to speak. That's what it says in Masechet Barachot, Daf Mem. Ki etz hada'at chita haita. What did Adam HaRishon ate from? From the tree of the etz hada'at tovara. What was it? What kind of fruit it was?
Grapes.
Grapes. What do you guys say? What did tzaddikim say?
Grapes, olives, figs.
Etrog. Masechet Barachot says seven things that he ate. 7. He says until he did not eat chita, a grain, he is not able to speak. Hita chayta lachem nichnas bo da'at. When he ate grain, he got knowledge. Lachem amru yachol le'echol kazay dagan marchikim mitzaato. He says if the baby eats 27 grams of the grain, which is flour, right away his number 2 starts smelling. Ki hotza'a masrechet mita'avat aklipa o achalim. He says number 2, it smells the stuff that he ate. Lachem bashanat shalosh lemalko. That's why the Achashverosh in the 3rd year, what he did, she'az nigmar hatinok, nityashev da'ato alav. Now he start thinking. What does he start thinking, Achashverosh? כשבט המלך 4 רגלי כיסא מרכבת טומאה היה בה 4 כיתות שאינם מקבלים פני שכינה. He says he would sit in a chair, in the throne. The throne had 4 legs. What's this 4 legs represents? Is the tumah. What's the tumah? What kind of tumah? 4 things. Hu chashmal. Rabbi Yosef, מה זה חשמל?
Electric.
Huh? Chashmal, electricity. Chashmal, chanifim. It says 4 people cannot accept Shekhinah. Where is these 4 people? Kat chanifim. People that sucking up to people. They cannot see HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shakranim, which means liars, cannot see HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Misaper lo shanala. Speaking lo shanara. The 4th one, leitzanim. Clowns. Chashmal means. Chanifim, lo shanara, shakranim, v'leitzanim. Who is considered clown? That somebody dressed like a clown and sitting and making fun of other people? What you said, Rabbi Ariel? Beautiful. Whoever sits in a movie and watch movie, Chazal says, uleitzan. Moshav leitzim lo yashav. In the beginning of the Tehillim says, Ashrei Aish, I'm a king. David HaMelech says, Be'etzat HaRashayim u'derech hatayim. Moshav leitzim, I did not sit with the people that watch theaters. What do you think? The movie just came out today? The movie came out in the time of the Pharaoh. It says that Jewish people were sitting in the front lines inside the Egypt. And they hated them because of that. Every generation has its own movie, guys. Don't think you see something AMC over here. This is a movie. Chazal says 4 things I cannot accept by Hashem, which means chashmal. Kat chanifim, a person that's sucking up to another person. Kad misapre lo shanara, speaking lo shanara. Shakranim, liars. V'kat chanifim, the kat shela leitzanim. So each one of us, whoever watching, today you guys do tshuva. Instead of you having this book, this TV garbage in the house, you take it out. You send me a video, and you put what do you put? You put a library. And it's going to go viral. And you did Kiddush Hashem. Tumaka yadua, v'akiseh atzmo hu gava. He says, why we talking about the Achashverosh was sitting in a chair? Where else the king sitting? On the floor? Of course on a chair. The Chazal explain, kiseh atzmo hu gava. He says the kiseh, the throne that he was sitting, it show how much gaiva he has. Gava, which means pride. Vayetzer hara yoshev alav hu hatava ki yadua. Yetzer hara sits on a person, and we know that's where all the ta'ava it comes from. Want. V'azeh nomar kishevet hamelech al kiseh malchuto, she'avia mikerav ha'adam kol hamidot hanizkarot, az oseh mishteh mechnis belibo ta'ava. That's why Achashverosh, what he did, he brings all the ta'ava, and he did a party. How many days party? 180 days of party. You know what it means, 180? That's 6 months of party. And 7 days he said he did extra, 187. Chazal says 4 things that happen over there. Leitzanut, Shakranut, Chanifim, Vegam, Loshan hara. And he says that's what happens with a person. How many of us we said, Rabbi, I cannot come to shiurim. Why? I have my little sister's birthday. She turns 2 years old. It's a mitzvah d'oraita to celebrate 2 years old baby birthday. Or 1 year old. She doesn't even know what's happening. Miskena. You understand? Doesn't even know what's happening. Is mitzvah aseh? What's the first mitzvah in the Torah? To celebrate birthday parties. Right? Rabbi, you're too much. Come on. Let's have a little bit life. We love it. Where it says the first birthday party in the Torah? Yom Hiledet leParo. Pharaoh is the first one who celebrated the birthday. No problem. You want to celebrate birthdays? You should celebrate your birthdays. Finish Masechet. Finish Mishnah. Know some Tanakh Bal Peh. Do something in your life. You want to enjoy it? Why not? Hashem says you're supposed to enjoy it. But not every time wasting. It's called wasting. It's 2 different things. Where are you? Oh, I'm sorry. My wife is party. Oh, I'm sorry. My grandmother is party. Oh, I'm sorry. My mother-in-law was party. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a shtuyot. Shtuyot. What's a shtuyot? We laughing. Hey, what are you talking about? Hey, we enjoy it. What are you talking about? We have no idea what we're doing, how much with din v'cheshbon we're going to give for everything that we do. We have no idea. And hello, can you please come in the morning? Excuse me, cannot. It's Pirkei Avot says. What the Pirkei Avot says? Shina shel haboker. Yain shel halayla, which is morning sleeping, nighttime wine. Motzim et ha'adam min ha'olam. He loses chas v'shalom his olam. Why? Because last night he partied. What happened this morning? This morning he cannot come. He lost on a what? On a mitzvah. Do we realize that everything we do, we need to, tomorrow after 1:20, we need to give din v'cheshbon? That we need to give answers what we're doing? Who is going to be our protection? That's what he says. Asher b'shushan, kamo shemru b'zohar, dechelev v'dam nimshalu l'shushan shu adom v'lavan. He says, where was sitting Achashverosh b'shushan? It's in a paras. It says in the Zohar. You know what it says? Shushan represents two things. What's been Shushan, Rabbi Avraham? Flower. That's what we read in the Shira Shirim. How many colors did the flower has? Many. But the Zohar says two colors. White and red. You ever seen a flower with the white and red mix? He says these two things represents chelef, which means forbidden fat for us, with blood. Two things we cannot eat. Chelef v'dam. Says Shushan represents these two things, Zohar says. So the city that were over there in Shushan represented chelef v'dam. Nimshalu l'shushan shu adom v'lavan. Flower, he has two colors, red and white. Mishkan ha'yetzer hara v'kochotav hu b'chelev adam. He says yetzer hara, where is he sitting? In the blood and in a forbidden fat, chelev. That's where the Mishkan of the yetzer hara. Lefichach asur le'ochlan. That's why we're not allowed to eat. Why are we not allowed to eat blood? Because the Zohar HaKadosh says, Mishkan ha-yetzer hara. Yetzer hara is over there. Huh? No, Ki HaNefesh, we explained to you that for the first blood, but he says the blood itself, it's Mishkan, which means he's sitting on Yetzer hara is over there. Shushan habira. What means habira? Shu ikar hadira shel yetzer hara v'kochotea. He says Shushan habira. Habira, he says, ikar hadira, which means a dwell of yetzer hara, the housing of the yetzer hara, inside the habira, Shushan habira. Lekol sa'arav, to all the sar. What means sar? No, Sa'arav. Sa'arav, which means the kingships. Rosh. Hainu chayilotav hamunam al shar hamidot. Ki hatava patachat lekol hamidot raot, v'rosh hamidot hem sarim. V'shem avadim. V'kol hashana yesh memune echad. Keze chodesh. V'asarei hamidinot lefanav ovrim ha'atidim. K'mo shekatuv b'midrash. V'hi riv ben ro'eh miknei lot miknei tzon. He says, what happened with Avraham Avinu and Lot? The Lot, he had a mikneh, which means he had a flocks, and he has a shepherd. The shepherd of Avraham Avinu and the shepherds of the Lot start fighting. Chazal explaining, Lot's a yetzer hara, Avraham Avinu is a yetzer hatov. That's why the Avraham Avinu says, whatever you want to take it. What did Lot took? He took Las Vegas. He saw something beautiful. He says, I'm taking there. What did Avraham Avinu took, guys? He took a desert, Midbar. He took desert. What do you have in desert? Nothing. What did Lot took? Las Vegas. Beautiful. He says, Vayira einav, and he says he saw what the eyes capture. And he went to the Vegas. What happened at the end of the Vegas? Got destroyed. So Chazal explained to us, this is we have to be careful. What we're looking and how we're looking, it so has ashpa'ah. It has a control on us, influence on us. Shehen siyana yetzer hara, eno siyan dinishmata. He says yetzer hara does not help a person. It does not help his neshama. Ve'enan siyan minhaga yetzer hara eno bekitruga ilin im ilin. Chel paras umadai. Shte banot lod kemo shekatuv bazohar. He says paras madai, it represents two daughters of the Lord. Amar Rabbi Yehuda leolam yetzer hara sholet ela ba'ilin. So it says following like this. In a Zohar HaKadosh, in a page 109. It says yetzer hara shte kochot. Yetzer hara has two powers. Nefesh v'ta'ava mitoreret. Yetzer hara has a wants and desires in this world. Shehem negesh v'ruach, nefesh v'ruach, shehem ba'a ta'ava v'chemda nikraim paras u'madai. He says, why these two kings were controlled by Jewish nation? Paras v'madai is two yetzer hara. What they represent? I want and I desire. Let's say we pass by somebody's house. We say, I want the same thing. I want bigger and greater. That's called chemda, chomed. I want it. Then you have ta'ava, a desire. He says, this is the two nations, paras v'madai. Ki parasu milashon pirusa k'neged ta'ava. Paras, which means milashon pirusa. Pirusa, which means, Prusa from kikar, lechem, which means prusa. No. Piece of bread. That's what the paras means. Piece of bread. Ta'ava. K'mo she'namar, en adam med v'chatzi ta'avato bayado. He says a person does not die until he fulfills his desires. Umadai romes al midat chemdat mamon. Paras, which means desires, v'madai, which means chemdat. Chemdat, which means want. What wants? Money. כמו שכתוב בשם גרבה ליקוטים, אחד מסכת ברכות מה שנאמרו, ילכנו אחריו אפילו למדי שאין סוף נחשב אצלם, נגד עמידת הכבוד. באבן שלמה כתוב שכל אחד עוזר לחברתה לחתו, כמו שנאמר בלילה הראשון. He says that's what the Satan does. Yetzer hara, yetzer hara tov. So two yetzer hara, which means paras v'madai. He says these two nations. What did the elderly of the Lord daughter? She says, "Let me make a sin with my father." The younger says, "Wait another day." Says that's what yetzer hara does. He says, yetzer hara, let's have the night not to spend time by learning. We have another tomorrow. When tomorrow comes in, he says, no, we have another tomorrow. When tomorrow comes in, is another tomorrow. And after the tomorrow, either two things could happen. Either exit 49 or either exit Cooper Avenue. La'alechem v'al kol amo Israel, of course. But at the end of the picture, that's just the beginning. Like it says in the Zohar, it's just the beginning. Well, we read it before. We continue, B'ezrat Hashem, let Hashem give us the power and the strength to understand the Megilat Ester. Until we understood that the Megilat Ester, very different, Vilna Gaon explaining to us, details by details, how it happened and why it's happened. B'ezrat Hashem, Hashem should give us barakah, tzlacha, sason v'simcha. Thank you for coming. V'chen yeratzon v'lomar amen. רבי חנניה בן הקדשה אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל לבחר הרבה להם